Hey everyone, this is More Than Just Trucks, a podcast for gearheads, truckers, and anyone who wants to learn more about the trucking industry. This podcast is sponsored by Truck Country and Stoops-Freightliner. Come along with me as we dive deeper into what makes this $700 billion industry an essential part of all our lives. Here, we will interview industry leaders, educators, and more as we aim to inform the population on all things trucking.
Hello and welcome to More Than Just Trucks podcast, the show that covers more than just the trucking industry. I'm your host, Ray Clark, and today we are going to talk about high school tech ed career centers, how they can help our trades industry. And I have a guest with me, Dr. Kris Hall, and we'll discuss the hurdles that Kris is encountering and how he can make improvements, how we can make improvements to build this trade and some career paths for the kids in high school level. So be sure to listen all the way through for all the details, and feel free to drop any suggestions to myself at podcast@truckcountry.com. Again, that's podcast@truckcountry.com. So our guest today is Dr. Kris Hall, and he is the director at Joe Daviess Carroll Career Technical Education Academy. Whew, that's a long one. With passion for the education in general, he's got a lot of concerns, likes to work with us very closely. He's done a great job since I've encountered my introduction to him himself. So he's going to share some of the struggles, what he's been seeing, what he's been going through, and going through some discussions. Should be good today. So hi, Kris. So again, thanks for joining us. And the floor is yours. Do a quick little background, an introduction to let everybody know where you're at, where your background is.
Well, hello, Ray, and thanks for the invitation. One of the struggles is trying to say Joe Daviess Carroll Career Technical Education Academy. We go by CTE Academy, and it was formerly the Area Vocational Center. And this is my third year as the director at the CTE Academy. And we have had many, many challenges, and I'll probably stay away from COVID-19 as much as I can, but obviously that's a challenge for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, my background is I'm also from the East Coast. I grew up in Pennsylvania and went to a high school that offered career technical education with the local community college, Williamsport Area Community College. So students had a chance to leave our high school and go to WAC, as it was called, and got into a lot of different trades. So they were doing that while they were in high school. So when I was done with high school, I actually went over to WAC for 2 years and did general studies. I had an inkling at that time that I wanted to go into education. However, I had not made a commitment. I was strongly influenced when I was in high school by a few of our high school teachers, and some of them were also coaches. So I had a chance to see them as teachers, but also as my coaches. So that kind of tied together and led me to Indiana University of Pennsylvania. It's in Indiana, Pennsylvania, where I got my bachelor's in elementary education and then went on, got a master's the following year while I was teaching full time. And after that, I looked for a change and found myself out in Wisconsin and spent 10 years in Wisconsin in 2 different districts working K-12 as a reading specialist. And then after 10 years in Montello, Wisconsin, Cambridge, Wisconsin, I ended up in Dubuque in 1990 as an administrator. And after being a central office administrator, I became an elementary principal for 9 years and then back to being a central office administrator working K through 12.
Nice.
That was a long answer. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great. Because the cool thing for me on this, Kris, is that, both of us, as you know, are kind of East Coast people. I'm originally from Northern New York. And then the second part that I guess I either forgot or I didn't realize it, that, I went to a vocational tech ed school career center myself, and we called it BOCES. And I took heavy equipment repair and operation. So the thing that, that I guess both of us look back at that, and now that you're running a CTE on that side of it, for me, it was cool because that was what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to get into that different style of education. I didn't want to be that typical high school boy that took the math and English. It just wasn't for me. And it was very nice that those CTEs, those tech ed centers had that opportunity for kids. So tell us, so now that you're out there with CTE and you got a good background in education for sure. I have seen so much improvements just watching your social posts and seeing what you're doing off to the side, your career days, everything that you've done, Kris, man, you've got a very strong drive to succeed with that. So tell us what CTE is really. We know it's a technical center, but what are the courses you offer? I mean, what are the pros to going there for kids that don't want to steer towards that college education, or maybe they do, but what can you offer to get them, a little head start on things?
Well, we have the career technical education at the CTE Academy, but that also takes place in our area school districts. They're offering CTE courses too. But the ones that we have at the Academy, we have graphic communications, computer networking, and security. We have early childhood education, which means that we also have preschoolers that are with us every day, and they work with high school students interested in early childhood education. It's called the Little Learners Academy.
Now that's got to make a day interesting sometimes, I'm thinking.
Yes. For example, during Groundhog Day, I have a little dancing groundhog because growing up in Pennsylvania, I have been to Punxsutawney. And so as the groundhog was dancing, all the preschoolers were also dancing. That was pretty special. So
nice.
So early childhood education, we also have health occupations, and we have cooperative education, which is essentially work-based learning. So we have students that are out in the work world during the day. We have auto technology, which you have visited many times.
Yeah.
We have construction trades, and we have criminal justice and law enforcement.
Nice.
So those are the CTE courses that bring the students from 6 area high schools in Northwest Illinois.
Nice. So you got a good outreach though, covering 6 schools. That is really cool. That is good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been to Kris's school there and been with their auto class. We recently donated about a year and a half ago a diesel little MBE 900 engine, and they were excited to take that on. We give them some background paperwork and manuals and stuff. So how's that been going for your class? Pretty good from what I've seen and heard?
Yes, it's going very well, especially the first few months that we had the donation, and then we had to take a pause. So we didn't have a lot of that in-person instruction, but we're back to that now. So they're always excited to be able to see and experience it firsthand. CTE is all about hands-on learning, and I think that's one thing you talked about, the pros, is that the students that come to us, they have a chance to do so much hands-on. We're even doing hands-on virtually, but it's much better when they are in person. But primarily it's about learning a trade that will be with them for the rest of their lives. And that may mean going directly into the workforce, but it could also mean going on to community college or a 4-year institution. That's one of the misperceptions about career technical education, that it's not for college-bound students. I disagree.
Right.
It is for both.
Yeah.
Definitely for both.
One of the struggles that I remember going over with you is you lost your body shop side of it.
Yes, unfortunately, our auto body program was not drawing the numbers, along with our culinary arts and restaurant management. And so the program was eliminated. We hope at some point we are going to bring it back. We did try and bring back auto body with welding. Unfortunately, again, the numbers were not there. And that's indicative not only of the program, but also the loss of enrollment, not only at the CTE Academy, but also in those 6 area school districts. Some of them are experiencing loss of enrollment. So then that impacts us. And so we have been trying, as you mentioned, our social media. We're trying to get the word out about the CT Academy and how exciting it is and how different it is. But it really, again, focuses on the success of the students and staff. And that's where I have to compliment the staff. I came into a great situation with the staff, starting with our administrative assistant, Sue, who has been there for over 40 years and really runs the place and runs me. But just the staff that we have, they're just so flexible. They show their ingenuity. They are always striving to provide a better and safer place for our students.
Yeah, I tell you, every time I visit that place, you have such a warm, friendly, welcome feeling. You've got a camaraderie built there. I believe I see it in the students as they come in, your whole staff. I mean, I brought Jenny from our marketing department. We've come over and checked out your school and some different classes, and just that whole camaraderie that, like I said, man, it cannot be any different than walking into a school and not knowing where you're going or anything. It's by far the best from what I've done as far as some of the walk-ins and how you feel when you walk into that place. So hats off. You have a great team there and some really good leadership for that. So
we're going to be celebrating our 50th anniversary next year, since the Area Vocational Center opened in 1972. So we've had over 12,000 students go through the CT Academy over the years. You know, the one thing about the staff is they're not isolated programs. They're not isolated instructors. They're always collaborating and looking for different ways on how to cross over into different programs. For example, if graphic communications is working on a project that may need construction trades, then construction trades will help them out. When it comes to auto technology, that's one area where we had a chance to work with Truck Country, but we also bring in other different vendors, tri-state area employers through job fairs, through breakfast interaction, and so on. So it's very much a collaborative atmosphere that's been there for a long time. And when we lose someone, I mean, that really impacts our culture. When we lost auto body, when we lost culinary arts, it's a big piece of the CT Academy.
Yeah.
So we are hoping to bring it back, maybe not culinary arts and restaurant management, but more hospitality. We've looked at fire science. We're always looking to see what would be the best for the students in Northwest Illinois.
That's great. I'll tell you, it puzzles me how you lost the auto body, because I've been challenged with putting a program on for our body shop techs. So how do we get, same scenario, how do we get auto body techs in? We know that kids can go to an auto mechanic class, they could go to a diesel class, but where do you go for auto body? It's far and few between anywhere. And man, even for a CTE to be able to have a class like that, I think would be so beneficial. The numbers, I understand the numbers may be lower than the norm because it's a very skilled trade, whether people realize it or not. It's not just mix up some Bondo and slap things on there. To me, I've done some body work myself, and you're an artist. You're truly an artist in a different realm. So that was.
I agree with that. And unfortunately, we're not the only ones that are showing a decrease in auto body numbers. The career centers, and there are 24 career centers, I believe, in Illinois. And plus, we collaborate a great deal with Highland Community College, and Highland had to cancel their auto body and their hospitality. And it just doesn't make a lot of sense because the need is so great in the tri-state area.
Well, let's hope that we can keep working together and get that voice out there. And like I said, some of this podcast was to be able to spread that word. So we know that we have worked together with between Truck Country and you guys. And again, by no means, man, open that door to every vendor you can get as far as you can, and try to help those skilled trades. So whether it's an auto shop, auto class, another OEM brand, whoever, man, definitely do that. So how, looking back, how our partnership where it started was kind of cool. So for you, what's some of your first memory of where we attached ourselves in a sense with truck country? Because it was a pretty neat. I'll let you tell the story. It was pretty neat, interested start of it.
It really came down to getting back to the office. And I think our administrative assistant came in and said, there are representatives here from Truck Country. They just stopped by and wanted to see, what kind of programs we had in our auto body program, our auto tech program. And so that was the first idea. There was nothing scheduled about it. It was just basically, we had a couple of your colleagues from Shullsburg.
Yep, exactly.
By. And that led to an invitation for me and our instructors to come up to Shullsburg and take a tour of the facilities there. And I live very close to your training facility here in Dubuque, so I was aware of that, but I'd never toured Shullsburg. And so that kind of led to the partnership. And I remember meeting you for the first time when you did a presentation for me and several other people about your 3-year program that you've shared several times with our auto body, auto tech students. Even construction trades have been involved in that. So that kind of started things, hearing about your 3-year program.
Yeah. So I'll elaborate a little bit on that so that your students and anybody listening can kind of get a good idea and understanding. So we have our own training center for truck country, where of course all our technicians have to come here and get trained and certified for Freightliner and Detroit products that is our badge out in the front side of that. So we have 2 paths of training per se is what we call it. One is a traditional path. So you could be that very tech savvy. You could be a experienced in the field already technician, but you have to get certified. So you're going to go into any of those classes. And of course, there's online prerequisites, and it builds you into an instructor-led class. Then we have what we call our TTP, our Technician Training Program, where it's a 3-year program, and it is an agreement that's signed between the employee and Truck Country. And in that 3 years, we try to kind of, in a sense, we're looking for students from CTE and other area schools that have a very good mechanical aptitude. They're not sure, they've never been in the industry, they're not sure which way they want to go. We get to hire them on, and they're kind of like a prospect because they're sponsored from our dealership. So having a large count of dealerships, we've got a lot of areas for students and or new employees to move to. But in that 3-year program, like I said, it's really cool for me because they get the traditional training that would be a 4 or 5 day class now broken into a 2-week type course. So it gives them a lot more hands-on. It builds that confident level of training as they progress through. We've got a tool program that we've worked in there also. So it's good to start partnering up. We've got an apprenticeship program that also is right in line with that, so that when you work with schools like this, with guys like Kris, man, you got to be able to keep that communication open almost on a monthly basis. And I know we need to get back over in touch, Kris. And if you got people in-house now, that'd be great, because that's the part that, as I think you know me, I like to be in-house. I like to spread the word about our skilled trades and this. I got a lot of passion for this industry itself. So definitely we'll set up some time to come over now that you've got classes in session again. So that'll be good.
Yeah, we have our 6 school districts back. We've had some pauses every once in a while, but it is good to have those students back and be able to kind of watch them get back into that hands-on approach. Getting back to how the partnership continued is that once I had a chance to visit Shullsburg, we started setting up times for you and your colleagues to come in and talk to our students, and you did that on multiple occasions. And also, you cordially invited us to your open houses. And I remember one of the open houses I went to, I was standing there, I believe, talking to you, and all of a sudden, I noticed that one of our students was there, and he was there with his father, and they both came over to explore the possibility of getting involved in your 3-year program. So that kind of continued to stimulate our partnership, is that continually going back to the students, getting them involved. And then one thing led to another, where we actually brought our auto tech and construction trades students and their instructors over to the training facility. And we spent several hours there, had lunch, and had a chance to go station by station. And of course, I was the photographer that was there, and we had some great photos. And our students really bought into that because they saw the variety of opportunities, positions. Again, it's more than just about trucks, right?
Exactly.
So it's basically gave them an opportunity, and then they were able to receive another presentation upstairs in your training facility. And there was just so much positive conversations going on between you, your employees, and our students and our instructors, that just carried over on the bus ride home. Is that they really talked about their experiences, and they talked about how they could come back again and try to go through it, because there was so much that was offered that day, and it was a lot to take in.
Yeah. We really tried to, and that's what's hard, because we tried to encapsulate like every touch point that we could. And I'm going to circle right back to your point of hands-on education, right? I don't think when it gets into the skilled trades or some of the technical side of it, you cannot dismiss that the hands-on is one of the best ways. And that was a proven point, that they were able to not only just kind of hear it and see it. And I know they always say pictures are worth 1,000 words, but to that point is they were able to literally do it themselves. And it was a busy day. I remember that, because like I said, we do a lot of stations and try to give them several touch points, from just the truck itself to an engine standalone, to electronic areas, to air brake boards, you name it. We were trying to get them an idea of what a technician would do on a day-to-day basis. So,
and you also had some of your vendors. I believe Snap-on Tools was there, and kind of that was another little feature we weren't expecting, but they had a chance to talk to the salespeople, and I just remember the enthusiasm of you and your colleagues that day, and they really wanted to show our students the exciting jobs that are available out there. So I'd love to do it again. I hope we can have you back, and also come back over again.
Yes, definitely. Our doors have been open, of course, for our immediate needs of training and keeping our techs on site. And so we're, like everybody, practicing safe protocol for outsiders coming in and everything. But yes, definitely, if your door is open and we'll practice and follow your safety protocols, love to get in and on site. And even if it's just a BS day and hang out with the guys there for a couple hours in the morning or something like that, I can bring an instructor over. Would love to.
Well, our auto tech program is our most popular, and the numbers are the strongest in auto tech. We really had to reconfigure our garage, because the classroom was kind of on the second floor.
Yes.
And tight quarters. So we have now moved the classroom to the floor of the garage, with social distancing and with our protocol. And we now have set up kind of a theater. I guess that's what you would call it, a theater, where people zoom in, or if David Albrecht, our instructor, is doing PowerPoint, and we have a very large screen that is projected on the wall. So there's a lot of changes we've made. We put in a sound system also, since we're down on the garage floor, but we're making it work. And the numbers are staying strong. Right now, we're asking our counselors in the 6 school districts to give us projected numbers for next year. So we're hoping we're going to be increasing. And by the way, I should mention the 6 districts are Galena, and then we also have West Carroll, River Ridge, which is 4 miles from us, and then we have Scales Mound, Stockton, we have Warren, and so those school districts really help us a great deal.
Good. Excellent. Yeah. And like I said, so with that said, note to all the counselors, man, take this advice, keep promoting the skilled trades and help those kids that are questionable about, like Kris said, it doesn't have to necessarily be no 4-year degree or maybe it's a community college. But to his point, just enrollment being down, man, there's got to be kids that are out there that even if they're questionable to you counselors, help. I never want to help steer somebody in that direction. Sometimes it's just a little guidance to open that door for them because they don't realize it sometimes at that age. So to the counselors, man, just help that. So let's steer that back to that. What are those struggles? I mean, what do you think is some of the kind of the problems, or what's been the hurdles and changes over the years that has, kind of gone away, or what's come new? Is it technology? Is it, I relate it to technology for sure, but then I also relate it to maybe some of the economy type scenarios that we've had to go through. So here's my thought, Kris, and let's chat or give me your opinion is, when we were brought up, typically it was a stay-at-home mom. She, by no means am I stereotyping that mom or anything, but it was the dad that worked and your mom stayed home and the kids came home to mom and stuff. But now it seems like to make ends meet, both parents are working, both parents are going it. They don't have, it seems like, time to do their own oil changes or anything or basic work around the house. So it's like, well, now the kids don't get to see that firsthand.
No, they don't. And those are some of the challenges that we're dealing with, the challenges to families and what they have to go through. And unfortunately, we have single parents that are trying to make do. And sometimes that puts the pressure on their older student or their older children to enter the workforce early. And unfortunately, some of them, we lose them to that. We lose them in education. So that's been an impact. Even recently now, we've seen a drop in enrollment due to the students having to work during this pandemic to try to make ends meet. But it is one of the challenges that we have, the economics. We're very, very aggressive when it comes to grant writing, and we rely a great deal on grants, both state and federal. And then also we do have a tuition that the school districts pay to help us run our programs, but it's not as if we have a lot of money that's there to try to equip our classrooms with state-of-the-art materials. We have been very fortunate that we had an anonymous donation of $100,000 over the next 5 years.
Beautiful.
For infrastructure, and we've already put that to good use. We have a school maintenance project grant of $50,000, and we're matching that with $50,000 again for infrastructure. So there's money out there, but not just money. There are resources like Truck Country and other tri-state area employers. And it's not always about give us money. That's not what we're doing. We're saying give us your resources. You have so much knowledge and experience, and that's very, very important that our students hear that. We've also been very aggressive recently with what we call Testimonial Tuesdays.
Yes. Yep.
And in fact, someone was featured on Tuesday. I think his name was Ray Clark.
Yeah, I saw that. Yes, thank you for that.
Well, we've been trying. I think we now have about 24 Testimonial Tuesdays, and we have them lined up right now. We have someone right now that's at Southwest Tech, and criminal justice law enforcement just sent us a testimony. We just had somebody that works over at Myers-Cox, who's a graduate, and just sent us a testimony. So that's very important that the students that we have and the students that are sophomores and freshmen and middle school, they see students that they recognize, or former students that they recognize, and that helps us recruit and retain.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is you keep mentioning it. and I like that fact is, my question to be is, what can businesses do to help? And you nailed it. It's like, you're not there with just your hand out looking for, like you said, finances. It's resources, and it's going to take probably a lot of businesses in our skilled trade area to reach out to you and to other schools to keep this ball rolling.
Agreed. And sometimes we don't know who to ask or what to ask. And that takes time. Again, I've 42 years in education, started in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Iowa, now Illinois. 3 years in Illinois. We don't have a huge manufacturing base in Northwest Illinois. So we do have to broaden our look for resources to the tri-state area. And that makes a difference. And it takes time for us, myself and staff, to know who to ask and what to ask. And we have generated now a database of tri-state area employers. I know last year, the second year that we were going to do the job fair, we invited over 100 tri-state area employers. My first year that I was there, we had a job fair. There were 9 employers. The second year, it was 24 employers came to the job fair. So it was, again, people are literally knocking on our door saying, we need employees. Unfortunately, sometimes they want employees that have 10 years experience. They want a 10-year employer or employee.
Yeah.
And that's tough. That's tough to take somebody right out of high school and have them become 10 years of experience.
So my word to everybody that has had some communication with Kris, businesses, vendors, OEMs, manufacturers, anybody out there that he's reached out to you guys, my suggestion would be to please get in contact with him. I mean, we're all in the same, like you said, it's like they want that 10-year. We know we're all in need for employees, for good working people. And I think Kris instills that with his staff and for the students that come through. So I would encourage anybody listening to this that says, hey, I need some employees, and boy, I really like some experience. You know what? Help him build those training programs. I'm certain that he would be, with a little bit of help, like he said, it's a resource, right? If you're looking for a certain individual and it's that avenue, get out and talk to Kris and say, hey, what can we do to bring a class in to help do this? Or what can we do that can incorporate in some of your classes that you already have, Kris? Yeah, for sure.
And that's where we look at different opportunities to bring in tri-state area employers. We've run breakfasts where we invited 5 or 6 different employers in to sit and have breakfast with our staff and rotate around, because we are asking them, what skills do our students need to have? And there's a good pattern there, leading with soft skills. And that's where we also bring in tri-state area employers to our manufacturing day, work in the real world day. Last year, when we were doing our sophomore tours, where we invite all the sophomores in, we had tri-state area employers there that had a chance to talk to our students. And of course, the job fair. So we're always looking for opportunities for people to come in, talk with our students, talk with our staff about what kind of employee do they need. And that's very, very helpful, because it's not the same. It's just not the same.
Yeah, that's cool. So, I mean, when you talk about recruiting, you're doing it in a whole different aspect by those breakfast meetings and stuff. That's awesome. That's a really good. So, I mean, I don't know. Is there a true fix to that? Do you keep going down that road you're going and keep that, that drive that you guys have? I don't know if there is a fix to this or not as far as the industry, Kris. I mean, you look at it, where are we going to be at in 3 years? Where are we going to be at in 5 years? I mean, somewhat scary now for myself to sit back and I'm not even going to project it, but to think of if you're losing enrollment. I know how hard it is on our side to get technicians into the field. I mean, that's why we've put a program together, because we do have to train our own. You've got to build your own employment base, that there's not that farm boy or country boy even the city boy that's a gearhead per se, or somebody that's mechanically inclined that's getting ready to jump right into any one of our industries out there right now. There's the kids that don't know, and you kind of got to open that door. I think you got to give them that opportunity. So where do you think we go from here, Kris? I mean, is it everything that you said and more? I mean, you've got a good solid path going right now from what I'm seeing.
I think we do. I think we can overcome the enrollment difficulties. We're obviously trying to promote the CT Academy in many, many different ways. And the name was changed several years ago before I came on board from the Area Vocational Center, now called the CT Academy. And I'll have conversations with people in the various communities, and I'll introduce myself as the director of the CT Academy, and they look at me like, what are you talking about? What, the CT Academy? And then I'll say, well, it used to be called the Area Vocational Center. Oh, I went there. And so sometimes we're the worst kept secret. It means now we have to let people know that we're there, especially if you have people come from outside of Illinois and you hear about these career centers, these vocational centers all over the state of Illinois and what they offer. I know that Cianci, which is in Rockford, they have like 300 school business partners. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
And that's something, again, we have to keep cultivating, but we need to get the word out, and not just the word out to the school districts, but also to the communities too. Right now, we're looking at the possibility of adding a child care center to the CT Academy to actually provide much needed child care before, during, and after school, which would bring more very young people into the academy. So the challenge again is letting people know where we are, who we are, and what great things we're doing. And so we've really ramped up social media. We have just launched a brand new website. We are now in Instagram. Who knows, we'll probably start doing podcasts too. But
there you go.
It's and YouTube channels and so on. We're really trying to tie into what the students are involved in with their technology. Yes, we have a very active Facebook page, but when we take a look at the data on Facebook, our students are not the ones that are looking at Facebook.
Correct.
So and you're very much aware of that too, is that we have to reach out and go into different ways. And we'd like to have a little fun too. I know we just announced our outstanding students of the second quarter, and that's been a long-standing tradition. So we thought, okay, we really can't do an assembly. So how are we going to do this? And of course, everyone's masked up. So we just did, a couple of our students volunteered to become the mass seeker. Instead of the mass singer or the mass dancer, they're the mass seeker because we are the seekers.
Yeah, that's right.
That's our nickname, the Seekers. So we had them do this with these large heads, so they didn't know who it was. So there was a little competition. Who is the mass seeker? But that was one way to announce the outstanding students of the quarter, and in a different kind of way. Again, have a little fun, but still recognize those students.
Yeah. So you talked about other social media platforms, and in a joking way, so should I expect to see you on a TikTok video sometime, Kris?
We've been brainstorming so many different ways. We've tried to do a Zoom panel where we put several of our students on Zoom and give people a chance to zoom in and listen to our students talk about their experiences at the academy. Yes, we've been doing videos. We even have a blooper reel of our instructors trying to do videos to talk about their programs and where they would just break into laughter. And so in addition to those videos about our programs, we also have a blooper video that's posted on our website, Facebook page.
Nice. Very good. Well, as always, Kris, it's a great pleasure talking to you. I'm going to start to wrap things up for us today. And we kind of know, I think, where our future looks is kind of questionable at times. But hats off to you and your team. You are doing, honestly, a great job out there. And to everybody listening, if you are a business in that area, I encourage you to reach out to Mr. Kris Hall and get some references from other places and people. Talk to your counselors in your area schools, and by far get some enrollment boost numbers in there. And that's cool though, that Kris, to hear that the auto class is one of your largest enrollment classes. So hats off to you on that, and David for keeping that program going and stuff.
It really does. We rely so much on the counselors because they're the ones that are setting the schedules for their students and really talking about the academy. And of course, we're trying to talk to their students too, but we couldn't do it without the counselors. They're the ones that keep feeding us. And that's why when I get the projected numbers and I was like, oh, this is great to see. And then we have another challenge that comes in. If you have a couple minutes, one of the other challenges we're facing, and this is where I get into the politics a little bit, but one of the hurdles we have is the red tape. And with the requirements for assessments, the requirements for credits, all the different reports that have to be done, sometimes that just jeopardizes the actual time for teaching and learning. So that's something we're going to need, those kind of audits. We're going to need those kind of reports. There's no question about that. There has to be accountability, but I'd love to see that decrease a little bit so that our instructors, our teachers can spend much more time teaching and the students spending much more time learning. So there's my soapbox.
No, that's good because, same thing. I by no means do I want to make the show political by anything, but I'm with you on that. So to all the politicians that have some outreach to the educational side of it, please adhere to the voices that are talking right now, and Kris being one of them, because when, like you said, so for me, director of training, I've got trainers, of course, just like you've got teachers. And the same thing is we hear, I need that prep time. It's a never ending, evolving. I mean, you take a truck today that's built today, it's just like a cell phone. It seems like it's outdated tomorrow. And there's so much new technology coming into the field that the trainers, your teachers have to stay on top of it. And the last thing that they need to do is being caught up, like Kris said, in the red tape of reporting and everything. And again, I'll agree with you. There is some need for accountability for sure, and metrics and measurements, but sometimes it feels like your hands are tied, and I hear it from our trainers too. So, well, good. And so again, thank you very much for being on the show. And I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Truck Country Stoops. Remember that we are out there, 24 locations, one of the largest family-owned and operated dealership groups in the U.S. today for Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit. So check us out for all your part sales and service needs. We are customer driven.